I'm not learning, I'm just doing work to get it done. I think that's the motto for this entire 2020 to 2021 academic school year.
Let's just get out of here.
What's up guys, it's Sophie. Today we are talking about online school, Zoom University. Oh, I should have worn my Zoom University sweater, but it's in the wash. We're talking about online school, bitch, because I, for one, am struggling. I've been struggling since the first day of school. I've been struggling since day one. I went a period of time thinking that it was just me, that I was stuck in the mode of summer, or I don't know. I thought it was just me. I was just like going through this phase of lack of motivation to study, to create, to do anything. Like I told you guys this, I already put you on. But then I realized after reading a few of your DMs and messages to me that it's not just me and that you guys are going through the same shit too. So I put a poll on my Instagram asking whether or not you guys think that online school is setting up students to fail. And I got an overwhelming number of yeses. And for those of you who said yes, I asked you to tell me why. Reading through these messages made me realize that even though we're all in different majors and in different schools, like we are all collectively struggling. Like we are all going through the same thing together. And before I start this video, I just want to make a disclaimer that in no way, shape, or form is this video me complaining about the fact that we are online. I would rather be online than be risking my life and putting other people's lives at risk. We all know why we're online. It's to protect our own safety because we're still in a pandemic, because our government is horrible and isn't taking the right precautions to keep us safe. But that's for a different day. So in no way, shape, or form am I upset about the fact that we're online, but I definitely am upset about the way school structure has been set up for us. So my school, Temple University, has announced that we are doing our entire fall semester completely online. I've recently been hearing other talks of Philadelphia schools deciding to make their spring semester online as well. So that would mean a full academic year online. On my phone, I have a bunch of messages and DMs from you guys and reasons why you personally are struggling with online school. So if you feel stupid doing online learning, this video is for you. So I would say the biggest response that I got, and that I can personally attest to, the very first thing that I noticed about online school is just the instant lack of motivation that I have in my classes and after my classes. I go to Temple University. I did a dorm room last year and I'm currently living in a university apartment this year. I was fully immersed in like campus culture and like going to the library and studying with friends and doing all of those things, and all of my classes were in person last year. It was just completely immersive. Like even if a professor wasn't good at teaching and I still ended up having to teach myself the material, I wasn't confined to these four walls to do everything. But now I am, and a lot of you guys are going through the same thing too. So let's just read some of the responses that I got for this. Lack of motivation because we aren't going outside at all. Lack of intimacy. Online isn't immersive, hard to focus when you're not in an environment made for learning. This is especially true for those of us who are not living alone and who are living with family and who are juggling other extracurriculars and work and whatever else that we need to do in the 24 hours that we have. I feel like there's this common misconception amongst all university professors that like, oh, my students are completely online and aren't going to classes, therefore they're home, which means they're doing nothing. And since they all have that mindset, they're like, let me just put the amount of work that I would be giving them in person on steroids, because they're not doing anything anyways. Everybody's at home, like everybody's in quarantine, so they can just spend their waking hours doing my work, which is just like so detrimental to so many students that like have other shit to do. Or like we're in a pandemic, like maybe some people are dealing with high-risk family members, or maybe some people literally have COVID. But we'll get into the lack of empathy though. We'll get into that later. I genuinely feel like I'm teaching myself everything. It makes this semester feel like a waste. I feel like we're getting more work and it's hard juggling all of that with extracurriculars. For me, it's just harder to focus and it's so much easier to procrastinate or zone out. out. I think the quality of education differs between the two. Online also isolates students more. That's a fact. Like, that's also another thing that I noticed. And they try to compensate with that with breakout rooms. Let's discuss breakout rooms for a second, bitch. I have some thoughts on breakout rooms. The mere fact that we are able to turn off our cameras and mute ourselves means that students who are already not engaged with whatever we're doing will literally do that in a breakout room with 4 people. Like, I've been in a breakout room where like it's 4 people including me, and like everybody has their mics and their cameras turned off. So it's like, well, bitch, why am I here? And I get it. I get that resources are limited. There's only so much that you can do to have students interact with each other and work with one another. But it's especially difficult too if students are teaching themselves and are learning at their own paces. So if I go out into a breakout room and say I'm on module 2, but somebody else is on module 5 and somebody else is on module 7, it's like we're not all on the same page and we don't all know the same things because we're literally teaching ourselves the material. Learning in a classroom is different than learning on Zoom. Like, that's just a fact. Like, the quality of learning and the efficiency of learning is just different, and it doesn't work for all students. And that's another thing that I want to say too. It's not really a disclaimer because I've already started the video. If you are currently thriving in online school right now, that is amazing. Congratulations. I'm genuinely happy for you. In fact, please comment tips for the rest of us that are struggling in online classes right now. But if you are thriving in online school, then this video obviously does not apply to you, and we could genuinely use your tips. But it's become pretty evident that like it's not as easy for a lot of students. It's not as easy, especially when the specific major that you're in will literally prohibit you from learning as much as you would if you were in person. Like, depending on the major or the classes that you're taking, it is fundamentally impossible to learn online. So for me, I'm a perfect example of that. You guys know I'm a pre-med STEM major. I'm currently bio, but I'm changing my major because I don't fuck with bio like that. But I'm taking a bunch of pre-med courses like calc, chem, bio, all of it. And for STEM majors who have labs, I can't learn about the microscope if I'm not able to use one. You know what I mean? It's just like the efficiency of what I'm learning is limited. You know, film students who need to use film equipment can't use that because they don't have access to it, or art students who need art supplies and things like that. And I think that there was somebody who literally said that she's unable to do that too. Personally, I live with 7 other people and I'm an art student, so I need the studio space. You know, reading these makes me feel, I guess, inherently better about the fact that it's not just me. Like, if you're struggling or not retaining info or like not feeling like you're actually learning anything, like, know that it's not an individualized feeling. Like, it's not an isolated thing that you're feeling. It's a shared, common, collective feeling that we're all going through. It's really not just you. Not retaining any of this info, I don't trust myself to teach it. I retract after sitting in a lecture. Different learning styles and no hands-on experience in certain fields that it's important to have. I'm not learning, I'm just doing work to get it done. I think that's the motto for this entire 2020 to 2021 academic school year. So yeah, I think just the biggest trend for students that feel incompetent right now because they're not retaining anything or just overwhelmed or helpless is this feeling of isolation, that it's like your entire academic career at the moment is through this computer screen, and it's up to you to keep up with all of the different platforms that your assignments are on and to juggle everything, still take time for yourself, but still do the work after teaching it to yourself because your quality of learning is not as great and you're just on your own, and that's it. Good luck. So just if you are feeling any of those things, know that it's not just you. Like, understand that it's not your lack of intelligence or your inability to get things done. Like, it's deeper than that. Like, it's not easy to have your entire structure of learning do a complete 180 and then just be expected to do everything on your own. I would say the second biggest response that I saw, and obviously again can attest to, is the lack of empathy from professors during this time. Not from all professors, but from a lot of them. Because again, like, they think that we are at home doing nothing and can therefore do their work times 2. And this could also go hand in hand with lack of empathy from the university, specifically for low-income and international students. Perfect example of this. In my calc class, there's a student from South Korea who is in South Korea right now as we're doing online classes, but because attendance is mandatory for that class, he's expected to join us for quizzes and exams and lectures every single week. He has to do his classes based off of American time, even though he's in South Korea, and there's nothing that we can do about it because attendance is mandatory. And then for low-income students, a lot of online classes right now have pre-class requirements, so like device requirements, for example. They have a 2-device policy, so they need to be able to see your face during exams, but they also need to be able to see your hands. So we're required to have our phones set up and our computer set up. And if you're not able to have 2 compatible Zoom devices, you can't take the class. If you're like a pre-med student like me who like needs this class as a prereq and you don't have 2 devices, you can't take it. Like there's nothing that you can do. There has been some accommodation from Temple, but it's like as supplies last, so they can't accommodate every single low-income student in the university. So there are just like students that are being screwed over and there's nothing that they can really do. It just feels like there's not a lot of organization or structure or thought put into the style of learning that we're doing right now. There's nothing that I can really do about it, but because it's my channel and I'm upset, I'm gonna rant about it. But I also like, again, I'm using this video to serve as like a source of comfort for anybody who's feeling the same way and that feels like they are inadequate when it comes to their schooling right now, and that's just not the case. Like that's just not what it is. And obviously I'm still doing my work and I'm still putting in as much effort as I can, but I can't ignore just like that struggle feeling where I'm like, I'm not doing as well as I could be doing, or I'm not getting as much from my classes as I should be getting considering how much I'm paying. I know that I'm not the only one. After reading your messages and reading your DMs, like I know that I'm not the only one and it's like a shared experience. I just want to read like a few of the other DMs that I got from you guys. I said yes because there's no real structure to online school. Yes, we are given assignments each week, but most students, myself included, are just racing to finish the assignments because of how much work each professor is uploading into Canvas each week. In online, I'm not really required to pay attention. It's more like I'm just required to regurgitate key points of the lecture back at them through discussion posts. I'm not grasping anything. That is like a complete and utter reflection of how I'm feeling. Specifically for me and maybe other students, this isn't my learning style, and because I've been struggling with retaining the information that has been provided, it doesn't feel like I'm learning it just feels like I'm getting things done, so my $16,000 plus tuition isn't going to waste. And there were just so many other responses like that where it became impossible for it to have just been an isolated personal thing. For all of us in different majors and in different schools to be feeling the exact same way about not really learning means that we're not really learning. It's not because you're stupid and it's not because you're unable or inadequate or incompetent or whatever. It's because what we're doing is actually really difficult. And again, if it's not difficult for you, then obviously nothing that I'm saying applies to you, but I just wanted to come on and talk to you guys about what I'm feeling. Is there any like resolution to this? I don't know. I honestly don't know. If there is, I haven't figured it out yet. If you have, please let me know what works for you. Let everybody else who's struggling with online school know what works for you, but I haven't figured it out yet. I still feel like I'm going day by day, whereas I would used to like sit and plan out my entire week. And now it feels just like I wake up each morning and have to write out a list of just like things that I want to get done for that day, which is I guess been kind of working for me to just like take everything day by day, because if I look at like my entire week, I just get overwhelmed and then I shut down and then I don't want to do anything. Again, because I know that people are going to take this video out of context, I'm very glad that Temple made the decision to make us go online regarding our safety, our physical safety and our health and everything, because it's not looking hot on my campus. So like I am happy that they did that to protect the safety of all of us. But I think it is important to acknowledge the downsides of online learning so that instead of beating your own self up about it, we can all collectively come together and give each other support and help out one another, because it's hard out here. It's difficult out here. That's basically what I just wanted to talk about for this video. Hopefully if you've been struggling, this brought you a little bit of solace or comfort, and I love you all so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next week with another new video. Bye!